Good morning. My name is Roxana Gamusio. I am the Executive Director with the Private Probation Services Council. Today is Friday, November the 8th, 2024, and we are starting right at 10:02. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Private Probation Service Council, and as first order of business, I'm going to go ahead and do roll call. If you can please unmute yourself, let me know that you're here. Once we establish quorum, we'll be able to proceed. Judge Brody Kane.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Judge Teresa Nelson.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. Judge Jason Hudson.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Judge Joel Perry. I don't see Judge Perry with us today. Commissioner Baker Ring. I am able to see Commissioner with us, but I believe he's having issues with his microphone. So we know that he's with us, but for now, I will not be counting him at this moment. Stacy Kelly. And Stacy Kelly is also not with us. Michael Wright.
Here.
Thank you. Members, we do have quorum, which is 4 members joining us, so we'll be able to proceed. First order of business is to let everyone know that this meeting was properly noticed on the Private Probation Services Council website since August 15th of 2023. Additionally, the agenda for this meeting has been on the website since November 1st. Any individuals who wish to make a public comment on the items listed and posted on the agenda during our scheduled meeting comment period are welcome to do so. Because this meeting is only done through Teams, I will keep an eye out for the postings and any chats that we might receive. And so we'll make sure at the very end to give everyone that has any questions or comments proper time for them to go ahead and address the council. Michael Underhill is our attorney. I will turn it over to him for the statement of necessity.
Thank you, Roxana, and good morning, council. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Tennessee Private Probation Services Council. Because there is not a physical quorum present, a statement of necessity will be read into the record and filed with the Secretary of State's office. Pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-44-108, if a physical quorum is not present at the location of the meeting of a governing body, in order for a quorum of members to participate by electronic means, the governing body must make a determination that a necessity exists. Furthermore, Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-44-108, subsection A3 defines necessity as a matter to be considered by the governing body at that meeting requiring timely action of the body. The physical presence of a quorum of the members is not practical in the period of time required action, and that participation of a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Tennessee Private Probation Services Council, and the necessity of this meeting with members attending by teleconference means is to conduct timely matters of the council that must be discussed and decided prior to the next meeting. All votes will be conducted by roll call, and that completes the statement of necessity.
Thank you, Michael. Members, we would need a motion and a second to accept the statement of necessity.
This is Baker Ring. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Perfectly. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
I make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion by Commissioner Baker Ring. Do we have a second?
Judge Kane, I second.
Thank you, Judge Kane. By roll call vote to accept the statement of necessity as read on the record. Judge Brody Kane.
Aye.
Judge Teresa Nelson.
Aye.
Judge Jason Hudson.
Aye.
Baker Ring.
Aye.
And Michael Wright. Michael, you're muted. Michael, I didn't get your vote. I apologize.
I'm sorry, I experienced a little bit of audio issues, but aye, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, members. The next item on our agenda is to go ahead and adopt the agenda as it's been presented. That was emailed to all the council members along with everything else that's going to be discussed today. If you have any amendments to it, I'll be happy to take those. Otherwise, I would need a motion and a second to accept the agenda as it's been presented.
Judge Kane, I'd move we approve. I'll second it. Judge Hudson.
Thank you, Judge Hudson. We have a motion by Judge Kane and a second by Judge Hudson to accept by roll call vote. Judge Brody Kane,
Aye.
Judge Teresa Nelson,
Aye.
Judge Jason Hudson,
Aye.
Baker Ring,
Aye.
and Michael Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item of business is approving the August minutes. Those two were emailed to everyone. If there are any changes, please let me know and those will be amended. Otherwise, the August meeting minutes need to be accepted on the record to post to the website. I would need a motion and a second.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Judge Hudson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Judge Nelson. We have a motion and a second by roll call vote. Judge Brody Kane,
Aye.
Judge Teresa Nelson,
Aye.
Judge Jason Hudson,
Aye.
Baker Ring,
Aye.
and Michael Wright.
Aye.
Thank you, members. The next item of business doesn't need a motion. This is the informational piece we review regarding the director's report and the budget. You were sent information. We do have final closing numbers for fiscal year 2023, 2024. They show the program added a surplus of $5,176. This brings the reserve balance to $610,160. We also have financials through the month of August 2024, and those had a small deficit of $516. The reserve is at a total of $609,644. It was nice to end the year with us having a surplus this year. So just wanted to share that information. If there are any questions, please let me know. Hearing none, members, I will turn it over to Mike. We don't have any a legal report with any complaints. I'll let Michael fill everyone in on that as well. So Michael, I'll mute myself and turn this over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Roxanna. And again, good morning, council. For the first time since I've been assigned to this council, we do not have a legal report. So sometimes that will happen from time to time. But as you can see from the agenda, there is a retrospective rule review that I need to discuss with the council and then ultimately seek authorization from the council to move forward. And what we have with the retrospective rule review, every 8 years, the executive directors and their program attorneys perform a review of the respective commission or board or council's rules and regulations to see if any rules need to be repealed or updated or just stay the way they are. Roxanna and I did perform that review going back through all three sections or major sections of the Private Probation Service Council's rules and regulations. And in each section, we did identify a specific rule that needed to be updated or amended by a future rulemaking hearing. And those three rules are as follows. The first one is Rule 1177-01-.05, and that is the section regarding application and quarterly reports to the courts under the first section, which is application, registration, and fee requirements, and specifically under subsection B as to the quarterly reports that are to be provided to the court clerks by the private probation companies. This rule should be updated to reflect that the private probation entity should also sign that quarterly report, acknowledging that the report has indeed been provided to the court clerk. So that would be the first updated matter. The second updated matter would be under the second section of the rules, specifically Rule 1177-02-.01 with regard to duties and documentation, specifically subsection 1B, and what that is as to the documentation of the misdemeanor probationer that is to be kept by that private probation entity. This rule should be updated to allow for random audits without a specific timeline, which would allow for further checks and balances by the program, and specifically Roxanna and I. And then the third part, or the third update, would be under the third section of the rules under education. This would be Rule 1177-03-.01 regarding training and continuing education, and specifically under subsection 2 as to the post-employment continuing education. The number of required annual continuing education should be reduced from 20 hours due to 8 hours to comply with the 2019 statutory change to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 16-3, 909A3. Further, with that reduction down to the 8 hours pursuant to statute, 2 of those 8 hours should be set aside for ethics, and that was previously discussed, it's my understanding, by the council, I believe, back in 2021. Roxana, correct me if I'm wrong on that, where the council wanted to, out of the 8 hours of continuing annual education, 2 hours be ethics.
Correct.
Those would be the 3 kind of updates or housekeeping matters. What we would like to do with those 3 specific updates is move forward with a rulemaking hearing, but obviously in order to get that started, I would need the council's vote to authorize a rulemaking hearing in that regard so that we can kind of get the process started and moving forward with those 3 updates. So I would specifically request a motion to authorize and set or move forward a rulemaking hearing. Thank you.
So when would this rulemaking hearing, when would it take place? Would this be at a regular scheduled meeting, or would it be something with a different date?
Since this is my first time moving forward with this, and since it happens every 8 years, I do have my chief counsel, Jesse Gentry, on the call, and he can kind of explain the process in a little bit more detail.
Good morning. We anticipate we would be able to set this rulemaking hearing at a regularly scheduled meeting. Typically, our rulemaking hearings, there are some things we have to read into the record and go over, but if there's not a significant amount of public comment on those rules, they go pretty quickly. I wouldn't anticipate there would be much public comment on these rules, just from looking at what the changes are. So I think that we could schedule this at a regularly scheduled 10 o'clock meeting and still end at a reasonable time. And just to outline some more of the procedures as well, typically when we do a rulemaking hearing, we end up having to give 52 days advance note, or 45 days notice. We file it 52 days advance with the Secretary of State's office, but it has to be at least 45 days from the date. So we get everything approved internally and moving forward. We should be able to schedule this at the next meeting. I can't remember, Roxanne, do we have our 2025 dates yet? We do. You're on mute.
We do. They're on the website already approved. The next meeting is scheduled for February 7th, and we've got time for that one. If not, it would be the following.
So we would likely schedule this for the February meeting. I think we should be able to get this approved by then. If not, it would be the following meeting. And then after the rulemaking hearing, if everything is approved by the council at that point, we would send everything through approval with the governor's office. It would go to the attorney general's office for review of legality. And then if once they approve, it would be filed again with the Secretary of State's office and the Joint Government Operations Committee with the General Assembly, and they would then become effective if the Joint Government Operations Committee doesn't have any changes, 90 days from the date that they are filed with the Secretary of State's office. So it's not a fast process in the way that there are some deadlines that we have to look at and some waiting periods, but we would anticipate that if we set this for a rulemaking hearing in February, probably by the end of the year, we would anticipate that they would be effective. In the interim, I do know that, based on the statutory change with the hours, we would still continue to comply with that with the statute, even though the rules are in conflict at this point. But we would be able to move forward with approving hours based on the statute. So that would just be more of a cleanup for making everything conform.
Does the council have any other questions? Okay. At this point, I would need a motion to authorize and move forward those three specific updates to a rulemaking hearing.
Judge Kane, I would so move.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Judge Kane and a second by Judge Nelson to move forward with the authorization for rulemaking hearing at the February 7th, 2025 meeting date by roll call vote. Judge Kane,
Aye.
Judge Nelson,
Aye.
Judge Hudson,
Aye.
Baker Ring,
Aye.
and Michael Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael, for the presentation and that legal piece. We're going to move on to new business. And the first thing I should have said before now, I'd like to introduce everyone to our new Assistant Commissioner, my boss, Reed Witcher, is joining us. If you've got any questions for him, I'm sure he'd be happy to take them. I'm kind of putting him on the spot. But I know with our meetings always being virtual, you don't have an opportunity as some of our other boards or commissions to meet everyone. But Reed has been able to join us today, so it's great to have him with us. The next item in our new order of business would be a quick update on the comptroller's audit and the audit report. Judge Kane, thank you for assisting with that. I know as the chair for the council, you've been able to see that report. I'm very happy with it. We have no findings, which is always great. We have two minor observations and we've responded. One of them has to do with a vacancy that the council had for a certain amount of time. And then the other one has to do with the quarterly provider fees. Michael addressed this as one of the items we're going to propose in the rule cleanup. There's some discrepancy with the numbers of clients that some of our companies present to us on a quarterly basis. And then, as you all know, those quarterly reports must also be turned into the comptroller's office. And in some cases, those numbers have not been the same. And so the observation is that, trying to find a way for those to match. And we're going to try to move forward possibly with updating our form to make sure that the company is attesting to the fact that the number is the same being reported to the comptroller and us. So we're going to start working on that possibly after the hearing itself. And so that's the next order of business to share with everyone. The hearing in front of the legislative body for this report is scheduled for December the 11th. That is a Wednesday at 9 a.m. Judges, if any of you know, I know this is short notice, or at least, we just got the date. I'll be happy to send that forward. If any of you know that you're able to join, please let me know. I'll be sending information via email as well. Generally, we do want someone from the council there in case there are any questions. And so again, that date is set for Wednesday, December the 11th at 9 a.m. With no questions, I'll make sure to send this out so that we do have someone joining us. Other than that, I want to make sure and see if we've got any comments from the public, from anyone else joining us regarding the agenda or items discussed during the meeting. I don't see any hands raised or any chats outside of the recording that we have going on. Members, is there anything that anyone else has, questions or comments? I'll want to make sure to give you plenty of time.
Just as to that December 11th meeting, I know I have a jury trial that week that I fully expect to go. So that will be a difficult time for me to make as much as I'd like to appear. So if anyone else on the council could appear, I would appreciate it. If my trial settles, then I'd be happy to attend, but I think that's going to be a difficult date for me.
Thank you, Judge Kane. I appreciate knowing that. I will follow up to make sure that we do have someone there, but I appreciate that information, and I'm sure someone will be able to join us without a doubt. Reed and I will be there. Michael probably will as well, or Jesse. So I'll let the rest of the council know as we have more updates and make sure that we do have someone there. I don't have anything else. Judge Kane, if you do, or Michael, I'll entertain that. Otherwise, it is 10:22. I would entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no other council business.
I'll move.
Thank you.
And
We have,
this is Judge Hudson. I'll second it.
thank you. We have a motion by Judge Nelson to adjourn our meeting. Judge Hudson is also in agreement as the second to adjourn by roll call vote, making sure everyone is taking care of everything we have to address today. Please let me know. Judge Kane,
Aye.
Judge Nelson,
Aye.
Judge Hudson,
Aye.
Baker Ring,
Aye.
and Michael Wright.
Aye.
Members, thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you for everything you do. Look forward to connecting with you in February, and reach us if you need anything before then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, where am I going to be on the 7th? looking at those.
Nathan Wade and that whole fiasco and drama. And they were trying the case against Trump.